Yeah, okay.
Yeah, none of us are muted. I'll mute myself. I'm gonna talk for these 52 seconds.
Get my channel banned, DLOVE. Say some crazy stuff.
Oh, you got me mixed up with Steven.
Okay, here we go, guys. Everybody's unmuted there. We are good to go. What happened to PDubs? Did we lose him?
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
PDubs.
It's
I
okay.
must have dropped you for some reason. I was like, what happened to PDubs?
Had him on
I'm here.
timeout.
I'm
What's
here.
up,
I'm
everybody?
here.
What's going on, DLOVE? How are you doing?
Oh man, I'm doing fantastic. You guys?
Good. Good. And thanks, Zero Hero, for joining. Kevgret for joining. PDubs, what's up?
Hey, man, it's your show.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna talk about some stuff. Maybe some stuff about One Up, some stuff about Toy Shock. So you guys stay tuned. Um, and Michael B, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm showing some Detroit love too.
There you
I
go,
love it.
baby.
I love the D Town hat. Gotta love it.
It should
But
be a Blackhawks hat would be better.
no, come on.
You're in Arizona. At least go for the Coyotes. Come on.
Yeah, Coyotes are better actually. But
Yeah.
anyway, so everybody knows I called Pete up. I'm like, I got to get some stuff off my chest. I saw that one of the things we're going to talk about. Not everything is. I saw the video with Ralph and John D. And some things just really irritated me about what he said, and we'll talk a little bit about it. So we're going to talk about that. I got some clips I want to show of it later and talk about what he said. But I guess first, before maybe some other people will join, is we're going to bring on our nostalgia. He's joining too. So there we go. Now we got
Oh, there he
everybody.
is. Hey,
Yeah,
you got all the game room dudes. You.
yeah, it is the game. It's the Rexer plus Game Rooms dudes. So yeah. Because I was going to do this by myself, and I was like, Pete Ups, why don't you come on with me? I got a vent. I got a steam on One Up for a little bit, and I got some other things to talk about. But anyway, guys, let's jump into Toy Shock first, right? Pete Ups did that video
Uh-huh.
well, Pete Ups, you go ahead. Tell us how you got the PCB so early and what happened. How did you get your hands on that?
Yeah. So Jeff's always been nice to me because myself and Toycade, we started the fan page for them. So I was lucky enough that myself and maybe a couple other YouTubers, ETA Prime, I can't remember. I think there was another one, got demo units of the pinball machine. And even though I had a small channel, I was, because I was like the admin of the fan page, Jeff thought I should get one, right? Because he wanted me to do a live stream for the fans on the fan page.
Are you the first one? Are you the first one to do one?
I was the first one, yeah.
Nice.
Then ETA Prime did one like a couple weeks later. But anyway, so Jeff and I have always had a great relationship. And so, of course, he sent me the new bezel. He sent me the new PCB board early. Got to throw those in today, and I am very, very happy with the performance. We're not running at 30 frames per second anymore. We're now running at 60. That ball is zipping and flying across the table. The flipper lag has been reduced. It hasn't been completely eliminated, as I said in my live stream. There are moments where you can tell there's just a little bit of lag, but nothing compared to what it was. I mean, I think on a lot of virtual pinball tables, you're going to get a couple frame delay anyway. So you're like around, if I had to guess, I haven't busted out the slow-mo camera yet, but I'm thinking there's about like maybe a 3 or 4 frame delay, which is far better than what it was before. It was at least 7 or 8 frame delay, and it was a lot of folks didn't like it. Some folks could play it and it didn't bother them. Some folks it did, right?
Well, I played it at CES with you. Remember how we were there together?
I remember.
And it was kind of rough. It was rough. It was slow.
Yeah.
It was laggy. The ball kind of like slowly got picked up speed, but it was playable. I mean, it was definitely playable. I don't think that was an issue. But who has a Toy Shock? DLOVE?
Yeah, mine's modified now, so.
Oh. So you don't need the PCB.
Right. I'm going to get one anyway, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Why not?
Me,
right?
DLOVE, tell me about before you modified it. What did you think before?
I had no problem with it. I had no issues with the score saving. I didn't have any lag that I noticed. I think it was one of the games. I can't recall which one. One table was kind of weird. Even the magnification of it was kind of off on one particular table. I have videos up there on my channel of all the tables of me playing them. I didn't have a whole lot of issue. My only issue was I just weren't familiar with the Gottlieb, those tables, having not played a whole lot of pinball growing up because I was busy playing Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man and Galaga. But I had no issues. I had no problem. I enjoyed playing it whenever I played it. It just got me hooked to want to play some more. So that's why I modified it so I could play, other pinballs, tables.
Yeah. And with the, did Rexer freeze on us?
I froze for a second. Do you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're back now.
You hear me now? Yeah, I froze for a second. I don't know. Michael B., you have a Toy Shock?
No, we're in Canada, and they're not available here yet.
Okay,
Yes.
so I don't have to even bother with Nostalgia, talking to Nostalgia about it. So
I'll just keep my mic on mute for you.
We'll
no
just
problem.
DLOVE and P-Dubs up. What else about it, P-Dubs? How did they say you could get one, or how is everybody going to get their replacement?
If you're on, if you check my video that I posted, I put in the video description the instructions on where you can either mail them a check for $10 to pay for the shipping. The board itself is free. You just got to pay for the shipping. Or they're doing a Venmo where you can Venmo $10 as well. So all those instructions are in the video description, as well as they're on the Toy Shock Facebook fan page on Facebook. I haven't looked at their website. I don't know if they updated the website yet, but I think there is also on the website, there's a link to request replacement parts, and you could also send them a note there as well on the website.
Right. So people got that. All right. You got okay. We're gonna jump into the other. You got anything else about Toy Shock you want to talk about? No, we're good. We're good to get what I want to talk about. P-Dubs.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hey man, it's your show. Right, I don't know what's going on.
I know. I get to control the board. Okay, guys, who watched the John D interview with Ralph this afternoon? Did anybody watch that? Me. I was the only one, and I had to tell P-Dubs before. Hey, he said a couple things that I was questioning. But if you did see it, I'm going to bring this video in and we'll start it at this one point. This is what we talked about, even on my show, on other people's shows about, just basically, about how many SKUs they got. And this is his answer about SKUs. Let me see if I can add it back in here. But my whole point is here, guys, listen to what he says and tell me if this makes any sense whatsoever, because I don't even know what he's saying in here. So let's bring him in. Ready? And hopefully the audio works, guys. We'll pick it up in the middle.
For you, are we getting Racing Cab this year?
Oh, this is the racing one first. We'll talk about that.
Just have to wait for our announcements. We'll see. We'll see. I can't confirm or deny any racing cabs coming for this year, but there is one big announcement coming soon. So.
Oh, there is. Okay, how soon are we talking?
I would say within the month or so, within 4 weeks, we should have an announcement.
Okay, stop it there. Nostalgia, what's the announcement?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I have absolutely no idea.
Anybody in the chat? What's the announcement? Anybody know?
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was going to be that Virtua Fighter cabinet, but I think that got confirmed to be fake news today. I think David McIntosh said it was fake.
Yep, he goes on in the beginning to say it's fake news and all that stuff. So, but we're not going to get too far off track here. But this is what I want to say about fake news and that we don't have any. he says that on everything that comes up with a sticker, whether it was the NBA Jam or the Buck Hunter or whatever cab that comes up, Miss Pac-Man, you know, everything has been, well, that's not real, or that's not, sure, it's not real, but maybe you saw it and you're going to steal the guy's idea who even constructed the Photoshop image, and now they're going to run with it and maybe even make a virtual fighter and Fighter 2 cabinet. But,
I hope not.
Okay, Michael B., you said you knew what the... Me too, I would never get it.
Virtual Fighter kind of sucks if you're going to go for a 3D fighting game.
You don't like Virtual
right.
Fighter? What's wrong with you, man? I like Virtual Fighter.
Well,
I'll pass
wrong.
on it.
You're wrong. So there's so many better 3D fighting games that they should go after.
There is, but Zero Hero says Outrun. Michael B., what's it going to be?
I think it's going to be another NBA Jam SKU.
As the big
Now, is that a joke or are you serious?
That's a joke.
Okay.
It's going to be NBA
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Outrun too. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I D-Love, any guesses?
Well, I think most people are hoping it's going to be a damn pinball machine, so we can finally.
Yeah, I think they're just. I think they're just going to talk about the pinball and how it's coming, and and when it'll be available. I mean, that's what I think the announcement's going to be.
It needs to be.
It does actually.
Yeah. I would be totally fine with it being the pinball when pinball's coming and the games that are going to be on the cabinet. Like if they hit us with that, that's a big enough announcement for me. I don't really care about anything else.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to know what the status is on the attack from Mars and the Star Wars, because we've seen some news about Marvel. We've seen some tweeted pictures about Marvel, but it's like Star Wars and Attack from Mars were at CES and we haven't seen them since, right?
Right.
So I would very much like to know if those are actually coming out and when. Because as you guys have known, if you guys follow my channel, I've specifically said multiple times, the one I want personally is Star Wars. And I know, Michael B., you want Attack from Mars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Star Wars, and I like them all. But anyway, let me get to the next part of the clip because I kind of jumped forward too far about what. Well, Zero Hero says he said on the show when they will be coming out. When did he specifically say, Zero? Let us know. Put it in there if we know exactly when the pinballs are coming out. And let me get going to this next subject. So we skip ahead and finally somebody talks about the SKU choices, right? Can the site show what SKUs are at what retailers? That was the question. It kind of gets deviated here for a second, but let's see what he says on this one.
Go to your website, arcade1up.com. Go to Sega, hit I want to be notified, and hopefully they'll get an email when that's available.
Yep. Yeah. So, just check our website.
So this one's been coming up a lot. I didn't really know how to answer it. I know Justin and I, but it's like people keep asking about.
Yeah, about the different SKUs.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting really hard to track.
It's really no different than any other, publisher, what they do, because in order to basically have as many units out there, you're going to have retailer exclusives, and we have to make sure that our retailers have something different than the other retailers have.
Okay, stop it there. Why do you have to make sure your retailers have something different than other people's have? Doesn't go on to explain it. Okay, it's not necessary, but I know. Hold on. Let me finish. I know that in different regions or whatever, you're selling the different parts, but do they have to have different stuff? If I go to Best Buy and I get an Inspiron whatever PC, I'm pretty much going to any other store and getting the same PC. And we'll get to the next part of that in a second. But go ahead. Who was chatting? Was that you, Nostalgia?
Yeah. So it's a little bit more complicated than that. When you're talking about a PC build, honestly, I don't know what you guys have in the U.S., but we had like Future Shop, Best Buy, Walmart, Staples. We've got all those different retailers, and usually you've got slightly different models between each retailer, and the reason for that is because they want exclusivity on a specific model. So this is no different than what Arcade 1-Up has to deal with. Costco wants something to differentiate themselves from Walmart so they can drive people away from Walmart into Costco.
Right.
So,
but remember what the original question is here. Can the site show what SKUs are at what retailers? Mm-hmm. That's not the difficult part. That shouldn't be the difficult part. So now we're getting deviated from what they're doing versus what's showing that they can sell or are selling at different retailers. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anybody want to comment really quick before I keep playing it because there's more? Here we go.
So can we put them all at once and like say what the SKUs are? Not necessarily. For a variety of reasons, you need to make sure all these retailers are kind of have the same chance to sell their SKUs.
Okay. Why do I have to? What do I care about whether they're selling the same SKUs and have the same chance? You've already sold it to them. That's what's called fair market, John D. Let them battle it out and figure that out. What kind of excuse is that?
Okay, I can jump in here on
Here
this
we
as
go,
well.
Mr. One-Up Defender.
Just hear me out. I've got a lot of experience with kind of these exclusive contracts and stuff from previous work. And a lot of the times Arcade One Up is going to be signing an agreement, let's say with Costco, and they're going to be precluded from advertising anything about what SKU it is, what the differentiating factors are, all of those. So they're essentially signing a gag deal saying we can't say anything, and it's all on Costco to push their product.
Yeah,
and
that's where when you're a company and you are in those negotiations, you go and say, that's really going to be hard for me considering I just released 2 weeks ago a NBA Jam cab to this retailer, and 2 weeks later you're not letting me talk about anything, and then you're going to say go ahead and say that we have another unit with all these different options on it. I don't think that's something that you can't negotiate as Arcade One Up now. So that's where my position is on that. I understand what you're saying, that they have to. They need to go through these negotiations, and each retailer wants them and they don't want you advertising until the store's ready to sell, and they don't want to get that coordination is all behind the scenes and can be fixed. But we'll go on. There's more stuff. Anybody chime in? PDubs, anything?
Well, I mean, we kind of touched on this the other day when we did our live stream together, Rex. It was me, you, and Michael. We touched on this, and like I said on that show. I would love for them to be able to tell us on day one, like, hey, we're coming out with 5 versions of Miss Pac-Man. Here's the options, and here's the stores, and here's the prices. But I think what John D confirmed was what I also said on the show that we did the other night, that maybe contractually and legally they have to honor those agreements, and they can only reveal. We're only going to reveal
because they agreed to it, though. They have to honor those agreements because they agreed to it.
Yeah,
they said, "Sure, I'll go ahead and make my customers pissed off, and we'll go release a Costco version."
I mean, in my opinion, I think it sucks. But then again, I don't think they're doing anything wrong. Because we talked about this the other night.
Okay. Did he get to the part where he says this is the way it is in all industries? Did he get to that yet? Did I miss
he did
that?
say that. He did say
that.
It's pretty common.
And what did he say? That it's common, and that's where I'm going with this.
It's true. It's true though.
What?
Yeah.
Where is it true? I just gave you 10 examples of. Wait, let me give you your. I'm Windows, or I'm a PC maker, and I make PCX, right? And it's got this graphics card, it's got this processor, it's got this much RAM, right? Yep. And I say, this is the unit you can get. This is the only one you can get. And I'm whatever, IBM, it doesn't matter, Mac. Now, 2 weeks later, I go buy that PC, and 2 weeks later they go, oh, guess what? You could have gotten it with more RAM, with this graphics processor, and all these options for a better price. Well, 2 weeks later. Do they do that 2 weeks later? Tell me.
Yeah, they do that definitely with PCs.
No.
I've been working with PCs since PC's been out. If you go and look at Dell's website, you go look at Best Buy's website, it's very difficult to actually find the same exact laptop. People come to me all the time. Hey, Carl, which laptop you recommend? And it's very difficult to say.
I understand that, but they're not releasing so many computers and so many. I'm not going to say new units, right? A new computer or a new chip or a new, at a lower price or a better deal or a better combination, But
the configurations, this is exactly what you're saying. The configuration is going to be different.
I agree that you can shop around for configurations, and it's more a la carte. Okay. It's more, it's more pick and choose what you want, and you get more options. But it's not like that everywhere in the industry.
No, it's exactly like that. If you buy a computer at Costco right now, the mouse is shaped like a basketball, and there's backlighting LEDs.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and 2 weeks later, they give you a mouse. You're talking about Costco. What do you?
It's
Maybe
a joke.
what-
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you and I get it. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, 2 weeks later, I go and I get all these different
It's not a funny
options on the
joke.
same computer.
I think
And here's my argument. The nostalgia is the computer they give you is a different model number. It's completely different.
Right.
Okay, this is the same damn machine with the same thing and just little aesthetic differen's.
But
that's
what
what they have
do in
changed.
the,
Rex,
that's
I
what they
think-
do in
I
the
think
tech
you're-
industry, though.
Hold on.
I think you're wrong here to a degree. It's the Dell machine at Costco and the Dell machine at Sam's Club. They may have a different model number because that's the model number that they're selling to the particular stores, but the components of it is the same exact thing. With
Okay,
so-
let me switch
varying
gears.
degrees
Let me
of
switch
RAM
examples.
or whether it's SSD.
Let me
but
switch
it's the same
examples.
exact laptop.
Let me
just a
switch
different model.
examples. I go to the dealer and I buy a Corvette, and they say we got red and blue, and that's all we have.
Right.
And then 2 weeks later, I go to the same dealership, and they go, or I go to the dealership next door, and they go, hey, we have red, green, blue, orange, yellow. Oh, and also we have all these other options. What? Wait a second, now car dealers release every year. That's their thing. They tell you when they're releasing new models. They give you forewarning. They tell you your options on their website. You can have this color, this color, this color. You may not be able to buy it here, but you can find it or order it the way you want it. Now, I'm not saying they have to order it, but you don't keep releasing different models every so often and keep butchering it.
See, I'm going to jump in here. I don't disagree with you from a fundamental level. I don't like the system. It's not pleasant as a consumer to go out and spend $400 and 2 weeks later realize for the same money you could have gotten a much better value. It sucks. But the reality is, in these types of contractual obligations, you're saying, well, they could negotiate it. But we're talking Arcade 1-Up, and they're a decent-sized company, but they're nothing compared to Costco. Costco will just be like, hey, you're not going to do what we want? See you later.
Or Walmart.
Or Walmart, or any of these big guys.
Yeah,
they'll just say, forget it, and that's not good for Arcade 1-Up. So they need to make sure that they're bending backwards for these big retailers in order to get their product in the door. And if they burn a bridge now, I mean, they've got a lot of product that's going to be coming out in the future. If Costco's going to say no today, they're going to say no tomorrow, and they're going to say no next week and every single time after that. So they need to make sure they maintain a positive relationship. And then in terms of what you were saying about the computers, it is frustrating because you can go to, let's say, I'm going to talk about Canadian retailers just because those are the ones that I'm familiar with. But let's say you walk into Best Buy, and they have a laptop from Asus, and everything is great. You've got 16 gigs of RAM. It's got an awesome GPU. It's got a great CPU in there. And it's got, call it a 500 gig hard drive that is a solid state. Inside there, it's running a Kingston solid state drive. So I buy that for, call it $1,000. I bring it home, and a week later, they put out the exact same laptop, same manufacturer, same RAM, same CPU, same GPU, but it's no longer a Kingston solid state. Now it's an ADATA solid state. And they're charging $100 less. It's the same damn thing. They could have told me because they knew 2 weeks ago that it was coming out. It's not like it was just snap, all of a sudden it showed up in their back door.
No, because usually computers will have some advertisement or have some options that give you advance notice. Not no advance notice. Not, guess what, somebody walked into a store and saw this thing that you could buy, and we didn't give anybody advance notice on our website.
Sure.
I mean,
that ties into like a gag.
Yeah, I get your point though.
Contract,
You make a good point.
I think to tie a bow on this, Rex, I think we should all just not buy an Arcade 1-Up cabinet until the Costco version is announced.
Right. Is the Costco version the best one? All right, let me see if he
well,
says.
Honestly, wait. Can we answer that question? You guys got a tournament edition marquee, which in my opinion doesn't look that great. Light up buttons, which honestly, light up buttons look so cheesy. I know the modding community loves their light up buttons. ETA Prime started a tornado with that stuff, But then also the basketballs for the joystick ball tops. I mean, in my opinion, I think the Best Buy bundle was the best bundle.
Was better. Yeah, I mean, people are more pissed off that it became available than actually that it's better.
Right. I think so.
But you don't have to have the stool. There's that type of thing. So, I don't know. I kind of agree. Which bundle's better? DLOVE?
I have the Best Buy bundle with the stool, and
good bundle.
I like it. I don't have an issue with it.
Good bundle.
Mm-hmm. Michael B.
Well, here in Canada, we just got the Walmart standard bundle, and I'm fine with that. I didn't need the light up deck protector. The only thing I like about the Costco bundle, I like the topper. I think the topper's pretty cool. So I think that's the only thing really to be upset about.
Yes. Yeah, that's the one differentiator I didn't mention. So the topper's cool, but the basketball ball tops, the light up buttons, the marquee, in my opinion, the Best Buy stuff looks better with the fat tops and everything. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just saw a comment. We bring up the X-Men. Now, Nostalgia.
Yeah.
I'm sure X-Men and Marvel vs. Capcom are going into two different retailers, but here it is. Before you know it, you know which versions are available. They've at least given us an advance notice of which versions are available. Why can't they do that on everything? They've given you an X-Men and a Marvel vs. Cap. They listed the games. They listed the features. Who cares what stores it goes in now? I guess that's my final point right there. I don't care what stores it goes in. You guys figure it out, Arcade 1-Up. I'm going to sit there and look on your website and you tell me what's available. I don't care when. I don't care where. That's fine. I just know that it's coming available at some point. So, all right. I digress. Let me see if he says anything. If he says anything else here, let me see. I can't remember. There was so much gibberish going on in his mouth.
We love you, Rex. We love you, Rex.
Well, I mean, I'm the only one.
You pulled me out of bed for this.
So,
what I will
like that we could just say, hey, these are all the SKUs available. There's a lot that goes into it, and if you put one SKU out, then one retailer may not.
I think he talked to Nostalgia before he gave this answer before the show.
I mean, that's just a matter of fact of things. That's just the facts of life.
So John, let me give you a scenario. So like if you're negotiating with me and I'm Best Buy,
we'll pause it there because he gets into kind of the stuff that Nostalgia says. But okay.
Now Rex, I'm just curious. Now, if you go to Arcade 1-Up site, they typically have where you can buy, right? You click on it and it gives you the options. It may say it's Best Buy, GameStop. Now, when you click on those links, do they not, in fact, take you to the actual site that shows you what's available? So is that not what you're asking for? Are you saying
it's not accurate? I am asking for that.
The same. It's
never accurate though. That's what I'm saying.
I understand what Rex is saying because the idea is that there are variants. So it is technically they're different SKUs, but they are more or less the same product, just slight variations. But the idea that Rex is getting at is that we should be told, hey, Miss Pac-Man is going to come with XYZ games, and then there's going to be a variant version that's going to come with Dig Dug instead of whatever Galaxian, or I can't remember what the other game was. But the idea would be that to say, hey, this version is going to be sold in stores ABC, and this version is going to be sold in stores XYZ, and you can pick where you want to go so you know who to go to for your pre-orders. And you know that in advance before you commit to one, before another one actually comes to market. So I totally get it. It's really frustrating. But I also err on the side of caution just because I do know how complicated some of those things can be in terms of those contracts, right?
Well,
you can't burn that bridge. And I'm not trying to say that the retailer comes before the consumer, but in a contract, the retailer comes before the consumer, and it's once you're past that contract, then it's consumer experience.
Yeah, but here's my belief, though, Nostalgia, is that he's sitting there patronizing us. He's patronizing us and giving us some vague and unconvincing answers. We don't know if he's telling the truth. We don't know if they just botched it all together and didn't have their communications right with retailers. We really don't know. And it's common in him when he goes on these interviews. Like somebody will ask him, well, why are there black bars on the top and bottom of your Pac-Man? Well, we were trying to maintain the original aspect ratio. Bullcrap. You don't even know the original aspect ratio, probably, John. And number two, why didn't you maintain the original aspect ratio for your 40 other games right there? You would have had the same black bars. You're running 5x4 monitors on a different resolution. Don't tell me you're trying to maintain. That's just what he does on these interviews. And I'm sorry. And Show Me Retro thinks that John D ain't coming on here to chat. He doesn't even know who I am. That's why I can say these things.
Well, that's why I can say these my point here. This is where I look at it. Let's say, Arcade 1-Up is talking to a lot of people, right? They're trying to get deals here. They're trying to get deals there. Let's say they're talking to QVC, and QVC says, hey, I want a Miss Pac-Man with the pink stripes on it, right? And they release these to them. QVC has an option to sell these, or something can come up and they get sidetracked, and those never come to market, even though they've purchased them from Arcade 1-Up. They can give Walmart a certain SKU, and Walmart they could get buried in their system and they never get released. I'm just saying you can make these things and put them out there. That doesn't necessarily mean you don't have any control over what happens to them once they get them in their hands. And so for you to say, oh, well, QVC is going to do this, and then QVC doesn't do that, then we got a whole nother conversation that we're saying.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing I want to jump in here is something that's really equivalent that we're going to see probably in the next couple of months, if not sooner. The release of the new generation console. So you've got your PS5 and your new Xbox console. And what likely is going to happen is, as you can see, you can't pre-order this thing anywhere. We don't even know the price yet. And what's going to happen is Sony's going to release a memo to all these retailers and say this is going to be the retail price. Mm-hmm. And the retail price will be set by Sony or by Microsoft, and that's how that's going to go. But each retailer will then take that and be like, okay, well, maybe we can bundle it with this game, or we can bundle it with that. And Sony and Microsoft are not going to be advertising that. They're not going to be telling people, hey, go to Walmart to get this with this game, go to GameStop to get this with this game. Yep. It's going to be on the consumer to do the research to say, okay, well, Walmart's selling it with this bundle. I'm going to go to GameStop and maybe get a pre-order bonus or some sort of...
Hey, wait. And don't forget, you're going to get your Kohl's cash.
Right. Like the whole idea is that
Kohl's will bundle it with $50.
Let me ask Nostalgia something. Let me ask Nostalgia something.
Sure.
I'm
playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, so
I know, but I'm going to go back to my point one last time. You go to Walmart, you pick up a PlayStation, right? Yeah. You get the hard disk one because you don't know that there's internal now option only, because nobody said anything. 2 weeks later, you walk over to Target, and they got the internal only, no hard disk option. You never knew. You think PlayStation would do that? You think they'd do their customers like that?
No, but I think that's a much more sensitive topic when you're talking about digital only content.
It's a $500 machine. They're both a $500 machine.
It'll be more than $500, but you are right. My perspective is not necessarily. I mean, you're right when you're talking about one SKU versus another SKU, but they're talking about two very different technologies. You're talking about adding a disc reader. You're talking about physical media. You're talking about kind of almost. They're the same console, but it's a different console, right? They appeal to completely different demographics. So I understand that. The difference here is that an arcade one-up machine, whether it has a topper on it, whether it has light-up buttons, or whether it has basketball ball tops, it appeals to the same market, right? The same person who's interested in it is going to be buying that. So it's not like they're kind of cheating the system and saying, well, we're going to release this completely different system for a different user and not telling you. They are telling you. Sony and Microsoft have been very honest about what they're doing. So
all right, so Chris is right. I'm gonna get over it. If you read his chat,
get over it.
He's giving you the answer. You're dang right, man. You're dang right.
Let's not forget that Arcade 1UP is getting bigger and bigger every day.
Right.
And although we have this Facebook community and we have these, talking head shows and stuff, I mean, the 10,000 of us who frequent these Facebook pages, that's nothing compared to their overall market, their overall audience. So, you know what I mean? Like, we feel like, I don't know, I guess we feel like we deserve more than the average consumer, maybe? Is that what's going on?
I might respect him more if he came out, though, and said, you guys are pretty small of a community, and we're doing everything we can to try and support you guys and answer what you want. Because later in the thing, he does go on and say, well, if the community voices and they do, what did he use? In a crowdfunding, and the community wants it, and he was referring to our community, then we'll do something. What? You never listen to us, and don't tell me, oh, well, we did this or we did that. But go ahead, Michael B.
That's not true. I mean, look at Burger Time. The owner of the company wanted to make a Karate Champ because it's his favorite arcade game. Everybody said, don't do that. Make Burger Time. And they said, sure, we won't do what our CEO wants us to do. We'll just do what you want to do. So there's an example of them listening to that vocal community.
They listen a little bit. I will say they listen a little bit, but they don't do the joystick stuff. They don't do any kind of pre-talk to our community. We've asked them, hey, can you get a couple people who are in the community that you can reach out to before you do something that could maybe consult with? They don't want to go that extra step or reach out and try and fix the issues before they happen and ask, what do you guys think of this, or what about these joysticks? What about buttons? Would somebody buy this? That's all I'm trying to say.
So I hear what you're saying. They don't reach out to anybody in the community, but I've also heard in interviews that they bring in like video game experts and like champion players to test these cabinets before they go out. I know they don't go out to like probably community members, but they are doing some kind of testing with experts.
Yeah, and you know what they're doing? The experts aren't playing on those with those fight sticks. I'll tell you that, or any of those joysticks. So the experts they're getting. They might need to rethink what experts they're getting. So
maybe it's just different because me and Mike are Canadian and we just like to get pushed over a lot. But
all they have to do is any business decision they want to make, just make sure they get Detroit Love to sign off on it, and all will be good. That's it. Just send it to DLOVE, send it to Michigan, get that signature, and everything's going to be just fine.
Now, I just want to say something really quickly. A little while ago, Kev Gret had said something that when I was talking about the Sony Microsoft retailer differences, and he was saying that it's different because the retailer is making those changes versus Microsoft bundling those games and sending them out to different retailers. And he is right, but he's also wrong. So the reason why he's wrong is because of those contracts. Having the exclusivity deals, having customized systems or whatever, and locking Arcade One Up into a system where they're gagged and they can't say anything is no different than the retailer bundling something and pushing it out from their perspective, because it's still a strategy that retailer is using to really promote people walking into their store than someone else. And at the end of the day, it's still something Arcade One Up can't talk about. So
and also with the consoles, I mean, you know, Best Buy can have a bundle it comes with 2 joysticks when it normally comes with 1 joystick, and it can come with a particular game that you can't get that game from another retailer. If I buy my Xbox, it's got to come with this game. If I go there, it's going to come with a totally different game. So none of this stuff is unusual. We see it all the time.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I mean, I worked in a big mass retail store for 5 years, and I worked in the electronics department, and I did. First off, I did all of it. Well, yeah, I did their electronic sales, and then I moved into, they called it Connection Center, so I did all their cell phones. And when I was in the electronics department, one of the big things that really sorry, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that on your show.
Say whatever you want. I don't care.
Something that really pissed off a lot of consumers was when Microsoft, and I'm thinking this is like the Xbox 360 timeline, they would have regular price. Let's say I don't remember the price, but call it $299. And then literally people would come in and they would buy it and they would pay the regular price, and like overnight the price would drop $60-$70 because it's on sale, and it was a flash sale. And then you have all these people who are coming in and they're like, well, I just bought that yesterday for $60-$70 more. Can you honor the price? And then it becomes this whole thing that the retailer has to deal with. And it's not a price that Walmart set. These are things that are pushed down from head office because Microsoft wants to do a push and whatever. So I feel like it sucks, but it's the reality in the tech world because things are changing so quickly. New models, new revisions. It just becomes commonplace, and it really sucks because the end consumer, the end user, ends up paying more. But at the end of the day, it's just the way the ball rolls in that industry. It's really crummy. Think about.
I'll do the mic thing. I'll raise my hand here. I give you an example. When I bought my iPad a few years ago, the iPad 3. I bought the iPad 3. It was either 3 months later, they reintroduced the iPad 3, and they went from the big. Remember, they used to have the big adapter, and they went down to the smaller one. I mean, it was 3 months, 3 or 6 months later. I can't remember. I think it was 3 months. And boy, was I pissed because you know, what I mean, it was a much better machine. They called it both the iPad 3 for some reason, and I was just out of the time frame to take it back, and I had to live with it. And I still have it; it still works. But you know, it was just a bummer that they would do that. Yeah, 3 months down the line after buying it,
and they didn't advertise it. They didn't advertise it either.
But you know why they can do it? Because they're Apple, right? And that's the problem with OneUp is they're OneUp. They don't have really a competitor. I would love to see a competitor, a real competitor, you know, enter the market that isn't off the niche. But now that the releases and the titles, they're all kind of sucked up. You know, it's too late now. You know, they somebody has to do some other niche. Whether you know it's we're gonna do Sega titles, we're gonna do SNK, and that's kind of why OneUp can do whatever they want. And Chris talks about customer service, how it sucks. They don't care. I mean, come on. I mean, their customer service is pretty terrible. Another example where they don't really listen. We've been saying that forever, but
go ahead, Michael.
If I could jump in here for a second, something I'm a little bit concerned about with all these different SKUs that are coming out now and going into the customer service realm. What happens if you have a bad PCB? I mean, sometimes it's hard enough explaining to Arcade 1-Up customer service what actual part you need and they send out the wrong part. Imagine when there's 7 different PCBs for the same cabinet and you're trying to get a replacement PCB. That's going to be a nightmare. Like, how do they differentiate that? What are you going to get back? Like, I've got 2 Mortal Kombat PCBs right now, and the Canadian PCB is completely different, uses a different ribbon cable. I still don't have my correct PCB. I've just given up at this point. I'm like, it's not going to happen.
Right. 7
different PCBs. Good luck.
Wow.
Well,
I don't know if they'll ever have a competitor. I mean, they got in and they grew quickly. And one reason that they took such a big market share is because they produced so many different products, right? They didn't come in with just one product like Toy Shock or II Arcade or even this Neo Geo cabinet coming out. They came in and they said, hey, we got 4 cabinets, and then it turned into 6, then 8, then 12, and then mini-cades, bar tops. They just started pumping out products. So they've taken such a big hold of the market share that I don't think they will ever have a competitor.
Right.
I think these companies are going to keep coming in and saying the people that don't like Arcade 1-Up or the things that Arcade 1-Up is missing, such as having a multicade, the ability to have DLC, like the ability to have some licensed titles that even Arcade 1-Up doesn't have access to, right? Like, for instance, Arcade 1-Up is not going to get a Gottlieb license, right? So Toy Shock's got it, right? And yeah, that's not going to win the mass market, right? But there are lots of people out there who like that stuff, right? So it just sounds to me like there's going to be more companies coming in. We said that last night, nipping at their heels, taking it's like they're picking their pockets, right? They're picking Arcade 1-Up pockets.
Wrap it up.
That's it. That's it. I thought that was very well said.
Okay, John D did say, let me ask you guys this. I'll start with DLOVE. He said, somebody asked him about Nintendo and Donkey Kong and Nintendo titles. And he said, we'd like to have Donkey Kong or, Nintendo, but it's not necessary for us to be successful. John D,
what
what
that
do you
means
think
is
about
he won't get it. And nobody's getting Nintendo.
I asked Nostalgia. I asked DLOVE first, man.
Sorry.
I asked DLOVE, what do you think about that? Will they get Nintendo? Do they have a chance? And do they need it in the future to be successful?
Well,
and everybody in the audience,
I think he's right.
Do they need it?
I think he's right. I mean, of course he wants it. Who wouldn't want it? Because it would sell like hotcakes. For some reason, Nintendo's got enough money; they don't care to make more money. So I don't think Nintendo is going to allow someone else to do it. If it ever comes out, they're going to do it themselves. But he's right. There's enough other options out there to make to still be successful without it. But I'm personally would love.
But whoever does get it, I can tell you, I'll probably get something, whatever it was, we'd see. But if somebody else gets it and makes a nice replica of a Nintendo style cab and a Donkey Kong, you're telling me that's not going to take their sales away and they don't need it? They don't care?
I mean, again, just like you're talking about Legends Ultimate or you're talking about II Arcade, that's going to be that one cabinet it's not going to be any different than those things. Yeah, somebody's going to go buy it, but it's still going to be a lot of people buying Pac-Man from them and buying whatever else they release. So yeah, it's some coins falling out of their pocket, but it's not going to hurt them in the end.
Yeah, but they want it. He's acting like they don't, and I can tell you,
huge.
Everybody wants it. Go, Michael B. What do you got?
What's John D's job? What does he do?
I don't know, because what is he, marketing or VP of sales or something?
He's in charge of licensing. He negotiates the contract. So obviously he's going to go on a show and say, we don't really need it, because he's leveraging the fact that they're not all in. He's just trying to make his job easier. Right. I'm sure they're after it. I just don't think he wants to let on that they want it too much. They mentioned this about Dragon's Lair. The community did this big push for them to get Dragon's Lair, and it took away their leverage when negotiating. I think he's just downplaying it for negotiation reasons.
Right. Because I'll tell you this, if Nintendo was on the fence and he went on a podcast and said, yeah, we don't need it to be successful. If I'm Nintendo, I'm going, all right, buddies, you don't need it. Now, granted, it's not no huge podcast and something else, but he wouldn't say it like the way he said it on there.
Well,
can I ask all of you? I'm just going to ask a quick question for the panel. I want to get a quick answer from all of you. Who needs who more? Does Arcade 1-Up need Nintendo, or does Nintendo need Arcade 1-Up? Answer that question. Who needs who more?
I don't think either one needs each other.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
don't
I
think
was
so
gonna say.
either, really. But
Yeah.
They don't.
I mean,
they
I
don't
think
need
in the
each
long
other.
run, Nintendo. I think 1-Up will need them in the long run. I do.
Right.
I think it'll take away from their sales if somebody else gets one. And I do think somebody said that eventually the titles will burn out. I mean, you're not going to make a 3/4 scale Street Fighter 4, are you?
Well,
You know?
I think it's important to note that, like, one, Nintendo won't give up that license. That's a cash cow for them. So if they want, they'll just do what they did with the mini consoles. They'll just release their own version instead of letting other people do what they want. And Nintendo not only has the infrastructure, but they've got the manufacturing, they've got the tooling. They pretty much are set up to build any product that you can imagine. They're selling people cardboard for $80. So just like, keep that in mind. They have the ability to push and sell any product regardless of what it is. And
what's the cardboard? What cardboard?
Labo. Nintendo Labo.
Yeah, so you literally buy a game.
Oh, yeah.
They're selling cardboard for $80. And in terms of Arcade 1-Up, they know that this isn't a long-term strategy. There's only so many flagship titles that you can build into 3/4 scale cabinets, which is why at CES they were showing that giant Pac-Man stick, whatever it was, and those mini consoles that they're starting to get into. They're diversifying their product lineup because they have to in order to survive. And I'm not trying to say that they're going downhill, because they're not. They're on an upward trend right now. But if they don't expand that product line, they are going to eventually plateau and go down. So for them as a business, it's not 3/4 scale all the way. They're going to have to change gears and start doing some other stuff, which is what they appear to be doing. So, I mean, I don't know if I don't disagree with when John says he doesn't need Nintendo to be successful, because they don't.
Yeah, they're already successful. That's why. But I'll name you a million companies who were successful and didn't do the right strategy in the future and failed miserably, and are bankrupt. So
here's a question here too.
That's the thing. There's some great examples. I wish I had them off the top of my head where companies said, we don't need to do that or that technology. The watch is the greatest one. The watch is the best example where Timex or Quartz or somebody went, we don't need digital. We don't need digital watches, because that's just baloney, people.
Kodak.
We don't exactly. They all go under when you start not trying to grow and be better and get everything. Reach for the sky.
But I would suggest here, too, that Nintendo, as well as that product is, say Donkey Kong, things like that. I think it has a shelf life as well. I mean, I'm 54, and I think there's a shelf life to that, because the later generations don't know what Donkey Kong is from that standpoint. They know the console type Donkey Kong, right? Yeah. So I think there is a window that you're going to be successful if you come out with it versus if you wait any longer, because these younger kids, like when I picked up my Miss Pac-Man from the Walmart, the girl that brought it to me, I asked her, I said, do you know who Miss Pac-Man is? She goes, I think so, but she clearly didn't know. I said, it's a video game. She says, I think so. She had no clue. Yeah. And she's probably 20 years old.
Yeah. So here's a question. He says, if you made a Donkey Kong cam, would I pre-order it? Well, no, because I'm in the process of building a real Donkey Kong. I already have the board and it made. So, but this is what happens with me, and a lot of people say, you don't have a lot of 1-Ups. No, I don't. Well, why not? Oh, well, they have Street Fighter, and I got a multi-cade. Okay, it's great. Well, they got Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man. Yeah, I got a Miss Pac-Man Galaga. Oh, well, the Marvel Capcom just came up. Well, I got a Marvel Capcom, type arcade, So that's the only reason why I don't buy them, but they're not for me either. So people ask, why. I'm 6'4". I've played on them. They shake, they move. I can't see, they're not for me. They're just not for me. That's why I don't have them, and I won't have.
Would you buy one if it was Nintendo? If it was an official Nintendo product?
Just as like a a toy, like put it in a corner. But why would I play it when I got the real PCB and a full size Donkey Kong?
Yep.
I mean.
Yeah, but you have access to them and you have knowledge on how to fix, repair. Like, these are not for you. You said it exactly right. These are for people like me that don't have a clue what they're doing and live on an island and have no access to arcades except this.
Yeah. Okay, PDubs, take over for 1 second. My kid is screaming at me. I'm going to see what he wants, and then we'll wrap it up in 10 minutes, okay, or 15.
Okay. All right. I think I can host this show without you. Hey guys, welcome to Super Game Room Dudes. How's it going? Hey, we got a comment from Chris in the chat. He said, let's get everyone's thoughts on this. iArcade beat Arcade went up to the punch for Dragon's Lair. John D said this changed their plans on releasing one in the near future. He gave praise for iArcade's Dragon's Lair cab. I didn't watch this show, so I have no idea. Did any of you three watch this interview show? Michael B, did you watch it?
I usually don't miss it, but unless I have something to do with my kid, and that's the story tonight. So I was kind of caught off guard by this. I'm going to catch it afterwards. I can't really comment on that.
Okay. Well, anyone in the chat, let us know. Did John D throw some compliments towards iArcade? If he did, I would say good on him for showing some professional courtesy to technically a competing company. And yeah, I mean, iArcade did not sign like an exclusive, Dragon's Lair deal. So Arcade 1-Up could make Dragon's Lair if they wanted to. I mean, what's their name? Replicate is coming out with Dragon's Lair. iArcade is coming out with Dragon's Lair. Yeah. So if John D actually paid him some respects, which I didn't watch this show, good on John D for being respectful towards a competitor. Well, so what do you guys think?
Well, keep in mind, Jong also said that the Dragon's Lair that they're using is console. It's not arcade. So that also changes the dynamic because now I don't know what Replicate is using in their New Wave Toys lineup, but I would imagine that's probably along the same lines. It's probably not the ROM from the original arcade. So it's entirely possible that Arcade 1-Up could come out and actually steal that market right on back if they were to say, no, we've got the original license for the original ROM and you're going to get an arcade experience playing our machine. So, I mean, it's entirely possible that they could come in and kind of snipe that out. So, yeah.
Okay. So what did I miss, guys? It sounds like you moved to arcade. I'm trying to show everybody's comments here. I don't know which ones are legit.
You missed the exclusive. They said that someone's going to be making a Zork cabinet.
A Zork cabinet.
That's awful.
That was text. That was a text only game. Nobody knows what that is.
So
did you guys see the Gradius cabinet got revealed? Rex missed that as well. Gradius.
I did see
coming soon.
Okay.
And it's gonna be a JC Penney.
Better than Zork.
So going back to the comment about John D saying that it might have changed their plans, I read somewhere that they have to sell at least 3,000 cabinets to make any production viable. So maybe there's a little bit concern from their point that iArcade having this option for Dragon's Lair and seeing the success of the Kickstarter would affect their ability to sell those 3,000 cabinets. Maybe that is what changed their plans a little bit.
I don't think so. I mean, my perspective is iArcade is putting out a different product than Arcade 1-Up does.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know that it would take away from it at all.
Okay, so let me move on. Let me move on to one. Can we move on, or we still got more to talk about with that?
You know what? Let's move on, Rex. Let's move on. This is your show.
It is my show, and one of the other things on the thing that John D said was selling PCBs to fix our botched. Well, he didn't say that. He just said selling PCBs and all that stuff is not in their strategy, right? Because we talked about a la carte and putting, different things where they could buy and switch. And he said it's not in our, repertoire, our business model. Why not, John D? I mean, why not if I want to switch my PCBs and fix some of your botch jobs on your early models and well, I mean, I got a Galaga, whatever countertade and it's a piece of junk and maybe I want to switch it out. Why can't you sell me a different PCB? Or here's a better one. I got a Marvel Superheroes arcade cabinet, right? The first generation, or I got the special version. And now you're selling the Marvel vs. Capcom. Can't I just get the PCB, man, and swap mine out? Because
that would be cool from a customer perspective. That would be cool because the Marvel like I have that Marvel limited edition cabinet, which technically now I feel when I look at the Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet, it doesn't feel so limited, doesn't feel so special, right? Now, because it would have the same controls, it uses the same ribbon cable and all that. If I could get a Wi-Fi antenna and the PCB board and swap them out and it was plug and play, I would be in for that. Like, I don't have to buy a new cabinet. I just spend, let's say, $40-$50 for the PCB and the Wi-Fi antenna. But then again, if they gave me that option, then that's going to prevent me from buying a $500 cabinet. Don't you think Arcade 1-Up wants me to buy a $500 cabinet? They don't want me to buy a $50 PCB.
Yeah. Now I didn't
Which
watch the whole thing, and Zero Hero wants me to show the comment, and I can't remember. I'm not Rain Man. I don't know exactly
Yeah.
what he said, and I don't know where it was and thing. But
Yeah.
he said they're going to re-release the cabinets. Well, I don't want to re-release. I want just the PCB. I already got the style of the cabinet and the thing. Is that what I mean? Is that what we're kind of talking about here? But
yeah, that's
is
what
that
we're
good or
talking
bad that he said? Is that good or bad that he said, Nostalgia, we're going to re-release the cabinets? How many releases can you do before I get ticked off?
I don't like the idea of constantly re-releasing. I like the idea, especially considering they've only really been in the market for like 2 years or so. So the idea of like having our vintage lineup, it's not really vintage. We're talking a couple of years. So, and I'm willing to bet you half of the people who are buying these machines are maybe even buying their first machines like within the past few months. Like this is probably new to them. So I don't mind the idea of re-releasing, but I don't think it should be anytime soon. I think they need to wait a little bit longer. And I think for the people who have purchased the original products and there's been improvements, just get them a new PCB. That's my thought. Don't change anything on it. Don't make it. Don't swap out the games. Just fix whatever emulation issues or fix any clerical problems.
So let me understand what you're saying. So you're saying if a person wanted to buy a Street Fighter today, they shouldn't be able to get the newer screen and have the backlit marquee. Well, they should just be stuck with whatever was available a year or two ago.
Well, they're not manufacturing new Street Fighters.
But hypothetically, if they did re-release something like that, then they're saying, yeah, guess what? You can't buy the monitor and put it in. Well, maybe that's a aesthetics thing, but they're saying you can't buy the PCB and just put it in your Gen 1 one.
Well, because it's probably a different PCB, right? Like it's got different connectors. It's going to have different technology. It might have a different chipset.
Then sell me all the connectors, Nostalgia. Sell me them all. I want to pay $100 instead of $500 for a Street Fighter.
If you're going to be buying a new monitor, you're going to be buying a new PCB. You're going to be buying a new control deck. You're going to end up spending $300. You may as well just buy the new cabinet anyways.
I don't know about that.
It's $100 for a monitor alone. I think that's what they're selling
the
for,
PCBs
right?
they use in these crap things aren't even as expensive as a Pi, man. And Pies are $35.
Believe me, I don't disagree with you on that. I was on a show a little while ago, and John was talking about how Dreamcast emulation is just not a thing. I was like, what are you talking about, man? Dreamcast emulation is totally a thing, and it plays almost perfectly on very low end single board computers. So, but your point is, yes, it's cheap to manufacture. They're cheap boards. They're inexpensive chipsets. They're not high end systems whatsoever. But the margin is what you got to talk about, right? You
would have loved, right? And the margin is where we're going. But you would have loved his comment today when somebody asked him about 3D or 2D polygonal and 3D games and that. Oh well, we have to worry about the chip and the manufacturing and all. And then he goes on and says, but we do have an upgraded chip and an upgraded PCB that can run those things. Well, wait a second. Then what do you mean? Either you're still trying to develop it or you have the chip. Do you have it or do you not? I don't get it,
Because they're trying to keep costs down so low. Like my phone can emulate PS2 and a Raspberry Pi 4 can emulate PSP and Dreamcast. And I've even gotten like GameCube games and Wii games running on a Raspberry Pi 4. We're talking about a $50 single board computer. You can run high-end games, or I guess high-end retro games on single board computers. But from their perspective, they're wanting to do it on like 5-year-old tech, 6-year-old tech. The chipsets that they're dealing with are like very inexpensive. Maybe one's more powerful than Gen 1, but it's still not as powerful as like a Raspberry Pi 2.
Okay, so you've talked enough nostalgia. Let's move to Michael B. Michael B, you got anything? You want to comment on anything?
No, I was exactly like you. I actually wrote Nostalgia when they first announced the Marvel versus Capcom and X-Men versus Street Fighter cabinets, and I said, I'm not going to buy this cabinet. I'm just going to wait and get the PCB so I can switch it out. And then I saw the live feature, and I was like, well, that's not going to happen now. So, they're foolproofing people doing just that, and it is what it is. It sucks because that's an easy solution, and that arcade cabinet itself was merely a conversion kit in the first place. It'd be cool if they let us do the conversions.
Okay, let me ask DLOVE a question. You got a bunch of one-ups, but you got to be running out of space, correct? A little bit?
I mean, I got a huge basement here, so I'm not running out of space.
Hypothetically, you're running out of space. Hypothetically, you're running out of space. You can't buy cabinets, but you can buy PCBs and some other components to make it work. Are you intrigued by that?
I would disagree that one up because they have trouble doing what their main focus is. and doing that right, people are complaining. For them to start trying to sell PCBs, I think that adds an element that just confuses that company. But hear me here. I'm thinking if people are still modding them, then that creates a third party solution for these PCBs. I have probably half a dozen Street Fighters PCBs sitting in boxes here. I have I have Galagas. I have probably a dozen PCBs sitting in boxes here that if Michael wanted Marvel, I could sell it to him.
Right.
So you do have that element
you make a fantastic point. The people that may have already wanted to swap their PCBs might just put pies in them instead and be done with it instead. Now you lose the front end and some of the components and the switches and all that, so you might not want to. You might want a PCB that's compatible with your volume and your switches, but a good portion of them probably would have put something else in them anyway. PDubs, real quick. Any thoughts?
NDA.
He's asleep over there. He's way past that.
NDA. No, I'm just kidding. I think that this was a fun conversation.
Okay. It was. And I wish somebody on here was saying, I love that guy. I don't know who he was talking about. It was kind of
he's talking about you, Rexer.
He wasn't. Was he talking about me?
Probably talking about Detroit Love.
Yeah,
I did like the comment. I just saw the comment in the chat from Jeff Rainwater. He goes, when people are running out of room, that's when you make your next purchase in II Arcade. I thought that was awesome. Yeah. Jeff said he's a big fan of the II Arcade. I am as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good machine. I do.
I mean, it's great. I mean, I can't.
Well, we don't have it yet either. So
yeah, I hope it's as good as everything that we've set it to be so far. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take everybody put in comments if you want to have any questions for these guys. The last topic of the day, I wish I would have listened to the whole thing, but John D kind of makes me vomit sometimes. He even said, well, they're talking about the Golden Tee, how great the Golden Tee, which is a good cab. And he's like,
Rex.
Yeah,
Rex.
Yeah.
This is like the fourth time I've joined your show, and I had the wrong mic turned on until the very end.
Oh, okay. Well,
I just turned on the right mic once again.
Great. You ruin my show every time, PDubs.
I can't hear PDubs at all anymore. Are you talking PDubs?
No, stop it. Stop it.
Okay,
Stop it.
Can I get to the point, PDubs? He said, we're talking about the Golden Tee and the trackball. He calls it a roller ball. He's like, yeah, ours is good because this roller ball is so good in the track. But he's just said some weird things over the time. And again, that's why he does love his arcades, But he did talk about SNK a little bit, and I wish one of you guys would have listened. He said something about it that he said he would have made it online if they were going to do it. If they would have, he said, if we were going to do it, we would have only been able to put 4 games on it. Okay, then why is this other company doing 50, but you could only put 4 games on it? And then he said he would have made it online capable. So nostalgia, don't talk forever. Just give me some highlights. Do you think that's what would have happened? Could they have made that type of cabinet online capable?
Probably. You could already do that today. I'm going to cut off nostalgia here because he's stolen all. Because my microphone now works. Folks can actually hear me. So, in my opinion, guess what, guys? If you want to play SNK online multiplayer, you can do it already today on your At Games Legends Ultimate via ArcadeNet. There's a whole bunch of SNK games that you could play online multiplayer already.
There's so many formats. You can use Fightcade or you can use RetroArch and play online and do a whole bunch of things. But he makes this off the wall comment, and this is my point. I guess I'll get to my point really quick. Is he takes digs, and you guys know it, and don't sit there and say he doesn't take digs at other companies and other things. I won't even get into some of the things, but he's unprofessional, period. Okay, and I'm going to wrap it up with that. He's unprofessional. He goes on shows, and he's supposed to be representing the company. Don't talk bad about other companies. Just be professional, not on Twitter, not on whatever platforms. And I know you're just talking to us, but if you can't go out and say it to the world, and in types of where it's not going to really affect anything, because we don't care what you say, we think whatever. But, or you can't go in front of your boss and say certain things, then don't say it to us, and about other companies. Because you wouldn't say it to their face, I guess, is my point. Now you guys all want to shut up? You guys all want to shut up after I say that? Is that how it goes?
In my opinion, I think we need to see more David McIntosh. That's what I'm going to say. More David McIntosh. Because David McIntosh is their VP of sales. He's always very professional. He's kind. He treats everybody with respect, even if he doesn't like them. You wouldn't even know that David McIntosh doesn't like you because, he's VP of sales. That's what he does. He's a good guy. So in my opinion, I think we need to see more David McIntosh out there promoting that brand. And the wild cards, maybe a little less of that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you're treading a slippery slope. Some people think it's cool. Like, oh my God, it's so cool because he gave me the middle finger. But then some people find it offensive.
Okay. Let's answer Coin Worker real quick. DLOVE, you see his question? Which one are you picking? Just which one?
I didn't see the question. What was the question?
1UP Pinball versus At Games Pinball. Which one's going to be the best choice?
I'm not a fan of At Games at all. So.
Wow. Okay. Michael B.
You asked me this the other night when I was on your show, and
but not everybody watches my other show because you guys aren't always.
They should watch it, Rexer. It was excellent.
It was.
Right now, I love both of them. But if I've only got to pick one, which is what you asked me, I really like the At Games options I've seen that they put out.
Nostalgia.
The question wasn't if I was going to pick one. The question is which is better, and I think the one that's better is based off of what you're interested in. If you want a themed cabinet. Let's say you want a Marvel themed cabinet, buy the A1UP, and if you want a multicade, buy the At Games.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Aren't they all just vaporware? Aren't they all just vaporware at this point in time? None of them exist.
Right.
So it's all hypothetical. Toy Shock is the best pinball out there to date.
That's true.
That is true. I think they're really good.
DLOVE is the man. Smashing toes, smashing hose. Toy Shock is the best pinball on the market today.
Yeah,
because it's the only one.
Right. So once the other ones come, to be continued.
Where was Eminem made a comment? John D, they said a big announcement. We did touch on that. We don't really know, but you think it's a racing cab. I'm not sure about that.
It's got to be a sit down. If it's a stand-up racing cab, I'm not buying it. I don't want to stand there twiddling the wheel around. You know what I mean? Like I want to sit down.
I gotta see. I agree. I don't want to stand up and try and put my one foot in the one thing and then move it over for break if there's a break. And I don't know. Michael B, stand up? No.
They can do a stand up, but sit down will be much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Last thoughts. I gotta go, guys. Last thoughts. DLOVE, thanks for joining. Anything? Closing remarks?
Let's see the pinball. Somebody bring it out. Stop talking.
Let's see.
We hadn't heard anything since.
Show me the pinball
with our own eyes. Okay, Michael B, what do you got?
I don't have anything else to add.
All right, that's good. Don't lose any of your sponsorships by saying the wrong thing.
I don't have any.
Nostalgia.
No, and I appreciate you having me on again tonight.
And guys, I just want to say this is, and people in the audience, this is just good debating argument. I take a side. It's good talk. We all like each other here, and I know that you guys know that when I, give you a hard time, it's all for just part of the debate, which is very fun to do sometimes. PDubs. You got anything? Last comments? You got your mic on right this time? You ruin my stream every time with your crappy mic.
Every time I jump on your show, I forget to switch my mic to the right mic. So my apologies, guys. So it never happens on my show. It always defaults to the right mic. But thanks as always for having us on, Rex. It definitely was an unexpected adventure, an unexpected journey. Hopefully we brought folks some entertainment tonight. And hopefully everyone enjoyed the conversation. Make sure you guys tune into Super Game Room Dudes this Saturday. What's going on this Saturday, Nostalgia? Who do we got?
I'm not sure. I'm not on the show. Oh, I'm just kidding.
You are.
We've got Larry Bundy Jr. coming on. Big YouTuber.
Larry Bundy.
I think he's like 400,000 subscribers. So
wow.
He's got some really interesting stories. That guy's a wealth of knowledge. I think
the real
you're
deal
interested
there.
in gaming, you'll like it. So
all right, and don't forget, everybody. The two Family Feud champions, if you didn't see my last show, are sitting right here.
Get out of here.
We will have a rematch one of these days, and maybe we could do PDubs and DLOVE versus you two. Instead
we'll just win that one with no problem then. Jeez.
Hey, whoa.
Oh, man, that's rough.
It'll be over in the first round.
Oh, jeez. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching The Rexer Show. See you later.
Canadian bacon.
Until next time, we'll see you